Good morning, Alvin. It's Friday, and today I'm going to be talking about science, for somewhat obvious reasons for you. But even for you viewers who don't like science as a subject, don't worry about it, because I'm going to be looking at it from a different perspective, kind of as a concept. You'll see more on that later.
5 minutes?
Something. The annual waiting in line.
Oh yeah.
Curtis, how did you like that movie?
It's okay. I mean, it wasn't bad.
Was it inspirational?
Not really.
Inspire you to take calculus?
No. No. I shouldn't start.
Just kidding. There seems to be a lot less stuff this year. That was a little bit creepy. I had no idea the chamber was rehearsing 6/7, but I was out in the courtyard, I was bored. I just had this thought to go to the choir room, and I don't know, I guess it was good timing. Alright, let's see what they have this year. Oh, you saw that too?
Congratulations! 3 coupon for a buy one flan, get 2 toppings free.
Alright, so a few things about science. Oh, and by the way, this is really just a lame topic. I couldn't think of anything last night, and I was having a thinker's block, I guess. Alright, but I guess we could start with a definition. Well, science is unique in that it's the only study that uses the scientific method. I'm sure you're all too familiar with that. You know, observation, hypothesis, experiment, conclusion, so on and so forth. But there are a few more interesting things about the concept of science itself. Well, first of all, science by definition is dynamic. That is, even though most people think that science is kind of rigid, it doesn't change, it's the inverse that's true. Science does change because, well, nature changes. But the natural world does have some rigidity, and that can be both a good and bad thing. It's a good thing because what's true for one scientist is also true for another. I mean, at least mostly. But, well, there's also something bad about it. Because, well, the thing is, there isn't really any creativity in science. So that's kind of a little bit drab. I think humanities, you know, there isn't going to be like, if Shakespeare never existed, there wouldn't be another person to take his place, but if someone didn't, you know, come up with Avogadro's number, it might just be called something else, but it'd be the same number. And one of the more interesting debates about science that I've encountered, and that I've actually formed an opinion about, is whether science is a human organization of the world, or whether it's kind of this unveiling of set natural laws. Now, I'm not going to grant your request and interview Dr. Hill on it. I don't know why. It's just a little strange. But I will grant the other half of your request. Last Friday, I actually asked Mr. Cooley about this debate. Watch this clip. I want to ask you what you think science is, whether it's a human organization of things or if it's actually just human revealing of the set, you know, kind of laws of nature. It's a tough question, but I mean, take the periodic table, for example. I mean, it starts off really simply. It goes from, I mean, the atomic numbers just go from low to high, but, you know, they're arranged in the columns. I mean, those are kind of just natural arrangements. Is that kind of a, yeah, what do you think?
So part of science is categorizing things for us to discover patterns, etc. in nature. So part of science is just labeling things for so that we can organize it in some way. But I believe science's ultimate goal is to discover the laws of nature that would be universal for another species, in the sense that if we met some other intelligent species, the laws of math and the laws of science would be universal between us. So in that sense, what we discover about nature is, with science, is laws of nature, not necessarily just a human construction. I mean, part of science, however, is just labeling things with names.
Well, that was a pretty cool flashback. But anyway, my opinion on whether science is a human organization or kind of revealing of the natural structure of things. Mr. Cooley says it's kind of a combination of the two. But I'm leaning more towards the side that science is only a human organization of things. I mean, because, well, first of all, science doesn't answer every question that we have. Just ask Freud about that. And above that, if you think, you know, if another species tried to organize the world, they would do it in an entirely different way, probably. Most likely, anyway. But, you know, this is one of those questions where there isn't really a clear answer. So maybe you could tell me your thoughts about it, because I haven't really asked many people about it. Alright, I'm done thinking for today. I'm heading back to Kermesse. Oh, and you won't want to miss our singing of Wana Baraka. I hope I didn't butcher that too much. Alright, it is only 2:15 or so, and I'm already ready to go home. I don't have any classes or anything. But I have a Shill and Scroll sort of planning officers meeting after school today. So I can't go home. Well, that's okay. Oh, and I also ran out of battery on my camera, so I had to borrow someone else's battery pack. Well, today was a pretty nice day. I mean, good food, nice performances, no classes. Today was pretty fun. Well, now to fill in any sort of gaps that I left, I'm going to ask a follow-up question. And this is a little bit interesting for you guys, especially those of you who like science, which I know at least some of you do. So how much of our lives do you think that science can govern? And what about the things that science can't explain? What should we do? I mean, how should we categorize those things? Okay, one last thing for me to say, and this is kind of a scolding portion of the vlog. I know that a lot of you watch and think or have something to say about the topic, and yet you don't say anything. Now, I know many of you hate writing and analysis as much as you hate school, but still, you know, you have to be interested in some of it, you know, some of my topics, and if you're not, which is fine, you have nothing to say, then suggest a new topic for me to talk about. But really, if, you know, you have some, you know, good relationship with the topic I'm discussing and say nothing, well, I don't know, that kind of defeats the purpose of my making these vlogs. So, starting now, I want Taylor Chan length responses, and yes, I coined that term.